Okay. Welcome, boys, girls, and non-binary individuals. God. Welcome. Welcome to the Spookshow podcast. I'm your host, Spookshow Reviews, recording in my closet here with Scooter Abraham from King and Queen of the Losers. How are you doing, Scooter? Well, from
Formerly, yeah. I'm doing very good. I'm very happy to be here. Um, I think that this is going to be a great show. I think we're going to do some amazing things, and lives are going to be changed.
yes, they're gonna hear us talk about Doug Walker's The Wall for the 300th time on this show. They're just gonna they're gonna die inside.
There you go. I think that's perfect. I mean, I just subscribed to the channel. I've never actually listened to the show, so this is going to be my introduction to the show. So I'm going to be judging you very harshly.
I expect to get blocked on Twitter after this one.
You know
It's
what? I think that if people are gonna unfollow me on Twitter, I would much prefer them to either block me or soft block me because it's really annoying like going and seeing an account that I know used to follow me and I'm still following them. Like this
yeah,
is fucking up my follower to follower following ratio. And if like at least be a decent person and soft block me. Like, do you really think I want to follow you? Like, no, I was following you back. Like, I don't want to see your retweets of 21 Pilots lyrics. Like, do you really think I'm that invested in your account? Like, show some
exactly.
respect.
I don't care about that. Twitter is quite the place, especially if you're looking for like horrible band people. And I'm talking about the musical band, but also like band theater people.
Oh yeah, I mean, Twitter is just in general a toxic, cancerous hellscape filled with the most angry and vitriolic people on the planet, and they all come together to get angry about stuff. It's really wonderful. And then there's like 1 to 2% of us who just go on Twitter for like jokes and like to laugh about stuff. Sometimes that doesn't go over too well because
Yeah,
a lot of people like to post their real opinions on Twitter. And then there's people like me who just like I'll
post
post I'll post mostly
things talking
jokes.
about the moon landing being fake.
Exactly. Good
Shit
shit.
like the
Like
only reason I use Twitter in comparison to like Facebook or Instagram is because I that's where the people from my town are on the least because they're not smart enough, they're not uh technology savvy enough for Twitter. So I don't have to hear them post about Donald Trump memes and
I feel like
uh
that's a lot of people they do that because like Facebook is connected to everyone's family, everyone's local community, but Twitter is like the Wild West. It's like you just choose who you want to interact with and you don't know anyone on there until you meet them on Twitter.
I had an aunt that shared a quote in the same day. It was right when the riots were starting. She shared a quote about race that was attributed to three different people. It was it was a Bible it was one of the Bible things. She also said it was for Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. And I don't remember who it was from. I'm pretty sure I googled it, but I haven't talked to that relative in a while.
There's
They would just
always there's always
share about the religious stuff.
yeah, like whenever like there's a big political or a historical moment happening, you can always count on family members to come out and say some whack shit about it on Facebook.
Yeah. Damien, I don't care. I'm not going to play Candy Crush with you. Stop adding me, man.
Yeah, that why does Facebook do that where you can like invite people to games like to play around
Uh,
8 ball?
so they can share your information, so they can get a connection. Like, oh,
That
you're friends with this person. Let's advertise stuff that they like to you.
yes, you are 100%. That's exactly what they're doing. They're stealing your data and then your Alexa TV is listening to everything you say. They know
They're gonna tell
everything you're
me that
doing.
Reagan Frog's gay.
Exactly right. The funniest thing about the turning the frogs gay thing is the fact that if you look into it, the chemicals really were like making the frogs like have like things happen to their sex. Like it was like increasing the number of like frogs born with like both genitals. So
Oh,
I
He,
mean, it was a weird way of phrasing it, but he was kind of right. The chemicals were turning the frogs gay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs into hermaphrodites. Can I say that word? Is that cancel worthy? I
I
don't know.
mean, I think you're operating in a comfortable enough range where you're not going to get canceled.
I think most common sense people know that it's satire, and the people that don't care about my channel because I'm currently bobbing at 48 subscribers. So, oh well.
There you go. I mean, I think that's the perfect range. Once you get too many, like I've had a couple of tweets where it's like once you get to like 20,000 likes on a tweet, people come out of the woodwork and they really start like interpreting things in the worst way possible.
It's going to be a Shane Dawson situation where I'm recording this podcast not thinking about it, and I'm going to say something about uh some sort of race. I'm going to say something about Indians, and I'm going to get canceled like Shane Dawson did. I'm not going to say I've ever had sex or orgasmed on my cat or whatever, but it's going to be something that Twitter is going to get me for, and I'm going to lose fans and friends. I'm being careful. I'm trying to.
That's smart. You should be on your toes because those people will come after you for anything. What's the
Yeah.
funniest thing you've seen someone get canceled for?
Ooh. God, I really can't think of anything off the top of my head. I know PewDiePie got canceled for saying stuff, or they tried to.
Yeah,
Uh,
PewDiePie's been canceled like 4 or 5 times.
Call Me Carson got canceled like once every week, and
What
then
was that? Yeah, what was the
and
story with that?
uh, at first it was just people being petty, like making some out of context joke about black people or something. I don't know. It's playing Minecraft. Probably said the N word at one point.
Yeah,
It's happened to the best of us. Oh God, I can't say that.
that's the
But
thing
then,
that if like you took the chat logs, like everyone's chat logs, especially those of us who were around on the internet 10 years ago, if you leaked all of our chat logs, we'd all be done. We'd all be
like,
toasted. We've all said things like that could easily get us canceled on that level.
yeah, think about Ray William Johnson. His entire brand of humor was saying fake and gay and like making fat jokes and insulting his fans on Twitter for no reason.
Yeah,
I'm
so
surprised. I'm surprised he hasn't been canceled at any point.
there's the there's the one Ray William Johnson thing, the stereotypes music video. That was like the most viral video when I was in high school. And
Oh, I heard nothing but that when I was like in fifth grade. We get it, Dwayne. You're a closeted racist. Now shut up about it and tie your knots.
the funniest thing that song says so much about how the culture used to be because it was like you were allowed to like make fun of all the stereotypes, different racial stereotypes.
Yeah.
You had to do it in a loving way, and then it was totally fine.
If you think about what Borat did, Borat was making fun of your weird Swedish foreigner people, but like that never got canceled.
That's right. Yeah, because the first
But then
Borat was like really, really out there.
and the funny thing about it was that it was actually exposing people that were horrible. There's a part where Borat's talking, he's like doing a weird high five with someone and he says, I'm not trying to shake hand or something like that. I'm not going to imitate the accent because that's going to be embarrassing for my vocal cords. But
Right.
basically, it's a football manager with a bunch of kids, and the football manager goes, "No, we don't hold hands here." And then Borat goes, "In my country, they kill people who do that." And then he goes, "Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to do here." And then he pats him on the back. Like inadvertently, those people are more horrifying, and they're voting.
That's the beautiful thing about Borat, though. It's like Borat brings out the worst of our culture, the worst of our country, and so it's actually a really good commentary in that way that it just kind of exposes like the extremes that you normally wouldn't see.
Yeah, like especially with the newest one. From what I've seen, I haven't watched it because that's when my Prime account got deactivated because they put it on Amazon Prime, the one
Yeah.
that nobody has. Uh, and he's going to like a right wing rally. I'm pretty sure he talks to Alex Jones at one point. Uh,
Yeah,
I remember
so
this.
that I think
Uh,
you're thinking of the Eric Andre thing.
oh
The
yeah, I was about to mention that when he says,
Yeah.
"Will you have sex with my wife?"
Yeah, that's a great. Eric Andre does a good job of that too, of kind of going to the RNC and just provoking people in an interesting way that it kind of serves as its own social commentary, the way that it kind of demonstrates. I think that another channel that does that really well is the channel All Gas No Brakes,
Mm,
where they go to these like events of like the anti-maskers, people that aren't like following COVID protocol and all of that stuff. And they just by sticking a camera in someone's face and a microphone, it's absolutely unreal the amount of shit you can get people to admit to and like talk about what they believe. I think the
yeah.
flat earth conference, a lot of people were saying like it was the Jews that were behind the round earth, just absolute crazy shit.
Why do the Jews get like put on for so much? What did they do ever?
Oh, it goes way back to like even before the Bible was written. It was the Jews in their culture, they really valued uh, like being able to read well and financial literacy as well. So they valued those things in their culture. So a lot of the Jewish people were very well read and they were very good with money. So for as long as there's been Jews, they've been really good with business and they've owned a lot of money because of that. And so who do you point towards when things are going bad? You point towards the rich people. So it really just goes back to like those olden days when the haves versus the have-nots and the Jews kind of got pointed for a lot of that stuff.
Oh, that makes sense. I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm very well versed in anti-Semitism and
Oh God.
uh,
Uh, so like the going back to the people revealing things on camera. I was watching a video by a channel called Philip Solo TV, who was at a anti-lockdown protest, and there was this crazy woman, and she was on drugs, not wearing a mask, and she got into a microphone and talked about how Donald Trump was her friend and her savior. And it's like really disturbing the cult of personality that Donald Trump has brought upon himself.
that's the thing though, is those people, they think he's more than just like a president they like. They think he's like a spiritual leader who's going to bring back the second of coming. He's going to return the Jews to Israel by moving the embassy to Jerusalem or Bethlehem. I can't remember which. They think that he's going to bring the second coming of Jesus. Like the evangelicals, they think he is like an actual sent by God person.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. The because I saw a tweet and it said that Fox News's stock had gone down after Donald Trump denounced them
That's
because
right.
Tucker Carlson said something that Trump didn't like, and that's when I started to set in that this man has so much more power than he knows what to do with, and
That's
because
true.
of that, combining with his ego, it's dangerous.
I mean, think about it. Like Fox News used to be like the crazy conservative channel, and now they're not even far right enough for like Trump and his supporters. Like they are all out there at protests saying like fuck Fox News and like chanting like hang Mike Pence. Like all the people that used to be their allies are no longer like extreme enough for them. Like they've pivoted so far that like Fox News is starting to be like the moderate media on these issues. And the Overton window is like shifting so much before our eyes. It's just wild.
Fox News are not the type of Americans that I look at. When someone tells me an American, I don't think of Fox News because it's a bunch of rich, stuck up, snobby white people in pretty looking shirts. Those aren't me. I don't see people like that when I'm walking down the street in West Virginia.
That's true. That's the
It's
thing
like,
is a lot of the media is manipulated by those elites, like the rich conservative sort of like Yale graduating class people, and they get on TV shows and they push out the message. The bad part is that a lot of middle America does eat that shit up, and it's like people do, as much as our country kind of has like a narrative against the media and like don't trust the news and all that stuff, there are people who just believe whatever's on the TV, whether it's MSNBC, Fox News, or CNN. Like, people do just believe whatever those big institutions are saying.
Oh, okay. This comes back. I found an article. My mom showed me an article from an Onion ripoff site. I think it was called Buzzer or something. It
Was
was a
the
parody site.
was it the B one?
Yeah, it's the B one. And
Yeah, okay.
article said Barnes and Noble to remove all Bibles, and it's had a sign Photoshop that quote said, "Due to the unrealistic and outdated views on humanity and personality, the Bible will not be sold at our stores." And mom looked at me and said, "We're not going to shop at Barnes and Noble anymore." And then after I explained to her that it was a satire website, she ended up accidentally sharing it with our pastor, who's also her uncle, I think. I don't know. He's up there preaching, saying, "We're not going to Barnes and Noble. Boycott Barnes and Noble." And I was just sitting there like, "Oh man."
What a great story. So it all started with your mom reading this satire website, and it went all the way to the goddamn pastor who was telling the whole congregation. Oh my
Things
God,
that
that's hilarious.
things that he's found from parody websites get worse. One time, this was like his most infamous sermon, because we sort of have a list. It's like, yeah, you're talking about the Bible. That's about as good as it's getting. To the, "Oh God, what are you talking about, Danny? This is a church. Oh God." And that was on that level. The thing that he was mentioning, how in time our young red-blooded right-wing youth has become corrupted. He points to Woodstock as corrupting children. A bunch of druggy people freaking listening to the Beach Boys or Joplin or whatever. And then he mentions the fact that John Lennon was bisexual, which, like, is he looking for that? I Googled John Lennon facts, and that's like on the third Google page.
Yeah, that
And
is like
then,
kind of deep cut John Lennon knowledge.
and it gets worse because he then tells us that Yoko Ono and Hillary Clinton were in a lesbian relationship during their college years,
That's
which was
very
on
interesting. You know,
another parody website.
yeah, that's one of those hoaxes that a lot of people believe. That's really funny that it like kind of took fire amongst like your community. I've heard that from a few different people before. Like, that's like one of those popular hoaxes.
Like the "it's okay to leave your dog in a hot car" thing. It's like, what does this have to do with the Bible? And the scripture says Yoko Ono and Hillary Clinton did the nasty in college.
I mean, if they did, that would be like the two most annoying women of all time hooking up. Like, you'd almost have to respect it by like two
That's a good point.
women of that level of annoying. They would be like the most annoying couple in the history. I am just fucking around. I
They
actually
need
like
Courtney Love.
Yoko.
They need Courtney Love as a threesome, and then this is a sitcom idea. I need to get on this.
You do. That would
Hillary
be like the trifecta.
Courtney Love. Their tap water would probably smell gross.
Oh, I guarantee you all three. They would smell like brimstone. They'd smell like hell, hellfire.
She would Courtney Love would just be sitting, and she would be wiping sweat off with Kurt Cobain death money. Uh, Bill Clinton would always come home late with kiss marks on him, and he would like run around going, "Oh, come here, Hillary," blah, 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 blah. And
I
then,
recently went and rewatched the press conference of like Bill Clinton where he's like lying about having sex with Monica Lewinsky, and that video is really funny. I forgot how funny it is just seeing him sitting there like sweating and nervous and like his voice crumbling like, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." Like, what a great
you
viral
know
moment.
you're in the wrong if you have to word it as sexual relations.
I hate how they do that. Like, just call it a blowjob. Like, quit treating us like we're 5 years old. Like, you could just call it a blowjob.
What was he, left or right? I can never remember.
He was a Democrat, but he was like a very center
Uh,
Democrat.
he also had a video game based on his cat, a political platformer from the NES age, which was canceled after the Monica Lewinsky incident.
Are you being for real? Is that real?
Look up "Socks the Cat Rocks the Hill." So some guy buys a demo of it that's worth the price of a used car, and then he releases it on Steam. As in, he buys the copyright from it, from the company, and releases it as his game. I hear
No
it's getting a
way.
Switch port at some point.
Holy shit. This is insane. I have the Wikipedia page pulled up. This is crazy.
It's so weird thinking about like Donald Trump getting or anyone getting a video game like that. I was playing a Mario parody called Super Bernie World, where your coins were cheese, and Ted Cruz was the Bowser. It was pretty fun.
Jesus Christ. I think politician video games need to be taken out back and put down. That's just, there's something really wrong about politics and video games coming together.
A lot of terrorist organizations will do that. There's one called Wimpy George Bush or something like that, and it's I don't remember where it's from, but it's a modded version of a hunting game, and you have to shoot George Bush, and it's like one of the easiest boss fights, as in he falls to the ground and starts crying, and you shoot him in the head. It's disturbing that they would give these games to children as a sort of, hey, you need something to do in the afternoon? How about you shoot people?
Now what they do is they basically they have a plan. What they do is when you're like 7 to 12 years old, they get you on Fortnite and they make Fortnite everything that you care about. So you're really into like shooting and all that. Then when you get to like 13, 14, 15, then you get into the Call of Duty and they get that in your brain. And then by the time you're 18, the army can come swoop in and be like, "Hey, you know how your favorite thing to do is run around with a gun and shoot people? Well, we have the perfect opportunity for you." And then they get tons of people to join the army.
Oh my God. I'm not joining the army. I don't want to get shot by some uh random country I've never heard of for nothing that's going to benefit me. Like I'm not going to get paid for doing that. No.
Right. It's just some guy defending his
I'm gonna
home.
get, I'm going to get discounts at Denny's maybe, but is that really worth it?
Yeah, that's why you should go to war for that 15-cent discount on your Grand
All
Slam
right,
breakfast.
here's my patch. Now give me the Denny's.
Yeah, you got to go run in Iraq, almost die for 8 years, and then you come back and you get 15% off your Krispy Kreme order. It's a great deal.
Yeah. I wonder like if they catch you listening to American Idiot or something. Uh I wonder if you can get kicked out.
Of the army for listening. Now, I
Yeah,
think it'd have to be a little more extreme than that.
like
You'd have
if
to be
you get
listening to like some like anarchist punk rock band that's like
Sex Pistols,
I think
Anarchy, maybe a little more hardcore.
I think you would have to be a little more underground than that because I feel like people in the army probably are listening to the Sex Pistols already. There would have
Listening
to
to
be
like
like
Metallic.
it would have to be like one of those bands that talks about like it would have to be like listening to NoFX's Murder the Government where he's like talking about literally killing politicians and then I think yeah, you could get kicked out.
So there's a scale. There's listening to the Sex Pistols at the bottom, and then at the top, it's defecating on a desk. And you got to find a middle ground, something that won't get you arrested, but that will get you blacklisted.
That's a fun game to play. Like, what's the worst thing you could do that's still technically legal?
Shoot yourself in the foot.
That's pretty bad, yeah. I think
Uh,
farting in an elevator's got to be up there on the list.
yeah, that's between shooting yourself in the foot and then writing in spray paint. Uh, I don't know. What's the generic anti-war message? War is gay.
That's actually a really catchy. I could see that catching on and being like a cool peace movement. War is gay.
War is gay, and the government is homosexual.
I think there's like, isn't that Kurt Cobain did something like that?
God is gay.
Yeah,
Something
that's
like
what it is. Yeah. What a
Trust me,
great.
I was doing a video, or I'm working on a video about Kurt Cobain biopics and like books and stuff because he's one of the most documented individuals in rock music. If you
Right.
ignore like Michael Jackson, and I have quite a few of the books, and they all say different things. Like depending on which one you read, you can go from Courtney Love is innocent and she's sad to Courtney Love murdered Kurt Cobain in cold blood.
What's your theory? Where do you land?
Oh God. So I made a video about this. You might have seen it, or you might have seen the thumbnail. Uh I went before I researched the video from I'm pretty sure Courtney Love is a stone dead murderer too. I'm not sure anymore because Tom Grant, the guy who made a lot of the claims towards her, is a con artist basically.
Yeah,
He's
that's
made like 5 different movies about Kurt, and none of the money has gone anywhere else. And he's such a smug guy on Twitter. He'll like the movie that he made, which is like 5 years old, it still gets retweets from people saying, "Oh yeah, Courtney Love's a murderer," and then adding her on Twitter, calling her all these different things. And I don't think she's innocent. It's very likely she gained from the death of Kurt, definitely.
sure, and she
But
did some fucked up stuff in her life too.
yeah, but I don't know if I can necessarily call her a murderer.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
kind of where I land on the whole thing. The guy that used to be the owner of the label that King of Queen of the Losers was on, he used to tour with Nirvana back before they had even recorded Bleach. Like he was like in that Seattle scene with them. And he used to tour with like Soundgarden and Mudhoney. They just were like part of the big Seattle scene. And he says that he remembers when Kurt killed himself and that there was no way that Courtney did it because he saw like a lot of photos that were never released to the public. And there's no way that that gunshot came anywhere else other than from
like
himself.
the idea comes from he had 3 times the lethal amount of heroin. That has to be that he can't pull the trigger, even
Yeah,
though
I hate that
uh
argument.
it's usually the case where if you're an active user of these drugs, then you can have up to 5 times the lethal amount without feeling a thing.
Right.
And
He maybe wasn't even high. Like he was a rich person. He could have like maybe hardly even been feeling normal. Like he might have really had a high tolerance.
yeah, it's implied by an interview he did like 3 months prior on MTV that the stomach medicine he was using had a lot of heroin in it and was pretty much just pure uncut, injected into your uh, abdominal area heroin. Uh,
Yeah, that's actually how he got started on like heroin and opioids. Like I know that because like I was similar. Like I started taking like pain medication because of like stomach issues. Like when I was 19 years old. That's kind of how a lot of people get started on like pharmaceutical drug abuse. Is just like you have some sort of injury or nagging pain, and then you end up taking pills, and then those pills run out, and you realize you can get it a lot cheaper if you just buy the good uncut honey.
yeah, I'm very careful about that because I got a lot of stomach stuff and like I get headaches all the time. I'm
Oh, that
pretty much
shit's the worst.
I'm pretty much your stereotypical skinny white kid who gets head. God, I can't talk. Headaches all the time. It's like I'm pretty much that, like the anime trope. That's me,
You're a skinny white
except I'm
kid that
not
gets
around.
head.
Dang, I'm not that anime trope. That's an entirely different one. Uh, I have to pay a little more than I'm willing to for that around here.
Wow, Virginia, really hardcore with the
Oh,
high-end
actually,
escorts, eh?
it's actually West Virginia. I just went there.
Same thing.
It's pretty much it's just shadier. Virginia's more cleaned up.
Basically, the only difference is that you guys were like, we don't like slavery, and Virginia was like, fuck you, we like slavery. That's basically the
And
only
there are still
difference.
a bunch of Confederate ding dongs, especially at my church. Uh, some guy with a ganked up arm and a weird face whose wife looks like Edna Monk coming up going, heritage not bleak. But then,
That's
like Black Lives Matter movement, those are freaking terrorists, and it's an abomination of God.
that is one of my biggest pet peeves. People who live in the North flying the stars and bars, Confederate flags. That's just so irritating.
Like you look so trashy wearing the Wish mask. And I have a separate problem with that because it's not like an American company that makes pure American flags. You're buying it off of a Chinese bootleg website that sells AirPods and sex toys, and it's like
Right.
completely. you're not funding any good old America. It's kind of ironic.
That's like that tweet that always goes viral of like uh items frequently bought together on Amazon, and it's like a Confederate flag and then like the pink kitten ears gamer headset.
I would love to see a hardcore Confederate wearing a pink gamer ooh woo headset.
There's a whole subgenre of like femboys and trans women who are Nazis and gamers. It's it also crosses over with like the anime subculture, a very interesting group of people.
We need to get like we need to get a documentary maker on this.
We do because it's like it's so confusing how you could like have your identity be so different to like your ideology. Like
Yeah,
how
like
it's like being like a black guy in the KKK.
there's a trashy white girl that used to go to my school. I moved, so I can make fun of her. She doesn't know I have a podcast. Um, wearing Pink Floyd and Nirvana shirts all the time without listening to music. She said that she was for Trump because Joe Biden was a communist, but she's also a lesbian that smokes marijuana. Those
Maybe
are like
I have
these
hope
dumb.
for her. I have hope that she'll grow up and realize that how contradictory that is.
It's hard to tell. She's quite the interesting character.
That sounds like West Virginia is very similar to Idaho in that way, where you can get these people who are like they're fans of rock and roll, they're maybe gay or lesbian, and they smoke weed, but then at the same time they're like Republicans, and you're just like, what the fuck?
We're like 30 or 40 minutes in, and I haven't even mentioned the music. I had a list of questions, but I'm probably not going to go off of it as much because I'm starting to learn that if I just let the person I'm interviewing talk, it's so much more interesting.
I think that's a great strategy. I think you're learning a lot about hosting a show. I think that's great.
Because the more caged up interviews I did, like with Lemon Tunes, we had a very strict thing, and I don't think it came out nearly as good as either of us were hoping for.
I think
Uh,
a good tip. Hopefully, this is interesting to the people listening to this. But I think a good thing to do when hosting a show is if you're planning on editing the clips together, then I think the structured format of question and answer is good. I think that that works really well. But if it's going to be like an unedited conversation, I think it does work a little better if you maybe have some notes like to go over like bullet points that you might hit. But I think it's overall probably best to just converse.
because that happened. I was interviewing somebody, a YouTuber that I really liked, and I got completely starstruck like halfway through. I had a mini panic attack in the bathroom that I was recording in. Like freaking, oh my god, what are we going to talk about? I'm wasting this important popular person's time, and I don't know why, but talking to local musicians, like I don't feel that. You're just a guy. You're just somebody who sang some songs and posts funny, politically incorrect memes on Twitter, and that's where we are.
I think a reason for that is because I've felt that before too, like trying to do like a collaboration with someone who's like popular or even having a conversation with someone who's like famous and like I've just like completely my butthole puckered up and I couldn't think of what to
Oh,
say. Like it's a it's a horrible feeling, but I feel like if you're just like at least honest about it and you just like kind of keep moving forward, it's always fine.
yeah, like I have a feeling I'm gonna ask about it at some point when the Denton Weaver comes out. I want to get Nate on the show. I've talked to him before. He seems like a really cool dude. He helped me get the Hecroween mixtape.
Oh,
But
he's
like,
not.
I'm worried
He's the
that
worst.
he is a he. Oh, really?
Yeah, Nate sucks. Nate's short. He's an ass. He's a
Nate is gay.
narcissist. He's ugly. He's gay. There's a lot going on with that kid. He's got a lot of problems, a lot of issues.
Yeah, he really needs to. He needs to get the ego out. What
That's
happened to that
right.
Rose Malay girl? What did you do to her, Nate? What did you do to Rose Malay?
Yeah, what happened to Rose Malay? That she just
Oh
disappeared.
God. Oh, she didn't just. I'm keeping tabs on her. She's got a video coming out that if it ever releases, it's like Kanye West's Jesus is King. It came out when none of us were expecting it. I'm keeping my tabs on Rose. Once she releases that video exposing the commentary community, calling a bunch of different people racist for stupid stuff they said, it's going to be a thing.
I had so much. I mean, here's
She
what I'm
harassed.
gonna say about Rose Malay, because I've actually talked to Rose Malay quite a bit because I was like when Nate originally did his video about Rose Malay and they had their little beef going on, I was like. I'm gonna just chat with her and see what she's really about. Like I don't like hearing about drama secondhand and then like getting an impression of someone. So I was like, okay, I'll just and so we like ended up talking for like 3 months, and yeah, we just we were kind of friends for 3 months. But then she just like stopped talking to me altogether. I think that she's got.
Because you're not popular or famous enough. She has problems. I have dealt with her harassment and abuse firsthand. It's not fun.
I did
I,
realize from talking to her a lot that she just thinks in a very different way. She's very obsessed with drama and she loves the attention that she gets from making people angry.
yeah, I'm I was thinking about this a lot recently. I released a video, the three best and worst albums I heard in 2020. I put her album, 15 Seconds of Fame, as the second worst thing I had heard. I shouldn't have done that. I should have given it to Tom McDonald because I didn't want her to get the exposure. Even though, to be fair, she always puts me in her videos featuring me playlist, even the negative ones. Uh, so that basically gives me a view boost. So I have to thank her in a way. Hey, thanks, Rose. You really
There you
elevated
go.
my because the first real video I ever did was a face cam content cop style expose on Rose.
Yeah, I see that on your channel.
Yeah, don't watch it. It's not very well put together. I agree with most of my points still, and I think that even without a script, I did a fairly good job. But my voice just does not come off on camera.
Is
I'm
that
like all over the place.
is that a personal thing, or do you think that it's just because you're being too critical on yourself, or do you think that the video is actually not structured well?
I I don't know. I think I bounce around. I did things to differentiate myself from Nate's video, and she still made the argument that I just recycled his points. And I kind of fanboy for Nate a bit because I put on his merch like at the bit where I talk about the Nate is lame drama and her
Sure.
video responding to him. And I think that's kind of cringy. But like I did things to differentiate myself. Like I talked about her music, which Nate sort of touches on, and I was a lot less serious. I was more openly making fun of her instead of just sort of being all grave and looking at the camera. I
I
was
think
dunking
that's the
on
way
her
to
a
do
lot
it.
more because I
Because
don't want to give her the power.
right, because a lot of what she does, a lot of her strategies for growing her brand are through trying to make people angry. So like if you respond in too serious of a way, it's almost like you lose. You're letting her win because she wants that reaction from people. And I realize from talking to her a lot, like she is nothing like how she presents herself online. Like the person she is in the DMs is completely different than the person she is on YouTube, on Twitter. It's like so much of it is an act in the show.
Mm. But that still doesn't excuse the way she presents herself or the things she said,
Oh, sure.
telling gay people to not. I'm not even gonna like recite it. Lying about being trans, so it would get her a get out of jail free card because she claimed that trans women got out of controversy easier than straight women, which
Yeah, I don't know where I stand on the whole Rose Malay lying about being trans thing because like it I don't know. I think that maybe she wasn't lying, but I also don't want to like speculate on whether or not like I don't want to like out someone, but I also don't want to like I feel like maybe there is some truth there, and that's all I'll say. So I don't really hold that against her too much. A lot of the other
what
stuff she's done with like the college Republicans. Have you ever read that article?
what happened there? I don't remember that one.
There's like an article from like a legit news company news channel in Arizona where she like goes on like this huge rant about like gay people and Democrats, and it's really funny. I wonder if I could find it and link it to you.
Okay. All right. So that's very. Ew, oh dear. I didn't. I don't know about her being trans. I'm not gonna like say whether or not she is or isn't, and I am gonna use she her because I don't want to be disrespectful if she is. But even if you say that you weren't, like, what's the strategy? You aren't gonna get people to sympathize with you more. I suppose it got her attention,
Right.
but if she's gonna like work at a record label, which she's trying to do, I'm pretty sure the person that provided her music also provided King and Queen of the Losers. I think it was Distro Kid or something. That might have
Oh,
been a
yeah, that's just
company.
the company that we
Uh,
upload to. Is that where she's trying to work though?
yeah, I think so. I've heard things. She also said that she was with a professional New York company, and that's why I think her finding the videos featuring me playlist at the top of her channel and putting the negative stuff, that's gonna hurt her brand
That's
because
true.
like they find the videos of her saying that she can't put the gay people can't uh, I don't
I
I
feel
don't know.
like I feel like a lot of people are gonna have that problem, up and coming musicians. Like I feel like one, I feel
Have
like the music industry is changing so much that record labels really don't have as that much power anymore. And I think a lot of people would be better off just not going to a record label nowadays. But I feel
yeah,
like a lot of people are going to have that issue where they're about to get signed to a label, and then the label goes and looks at what they've posted on their TikTok channel and realize, hey, we don't want to work with you anymore. I think that's going to cause a lot of people problems.
that happened with Cave Town if I remember correctly, or it almost did. He
What was that
made a
story?
Cave Town said some I think he said the N word once talking to a black guy, and he said something about Jewish people. I don't
Oh
one
yeah, I remember that. That was so stupid. That was like not even that edgy of a joke. The quote unquote anti-Semitic joke he made wasn't even that bad. I was like, are they really
I
canceling him for this?
I don't remember what it was, so I'm not gonna comment. I remember talking to Nate about it though. Like, is it okay? Is it acceptable? Is he a good person or not a good person? Because I don't even think he's talked to him. But does he seem like the type to change from that experience? And from what I've seen from the organizations he's sharing to, I think so. He could
I've
be like killing puppies off camera. It's hard to tell, but from the way from what we've seen, I would say he's okay.
I mean, based on people that would have made a joke like that 10 years ago, they would have just been like, "Oh, I was joking there." And everyone would be like, "Oh, okay, he was joking. That's not what he really believes." But nowadays, it's like on Twitter, if someone makes a joke, it looks identical to people who are posting their real opinions. So you really
Yeah,
don't, unless you know the person, you really don't know if someone's joking or not. And I think that's really muddied the waters for people who are just, yeah, they're taking things way too far, or people who just don't understand that maybe someone was kidding or not being serious all the way or being ironic.
back onto the Cave Town thing. Okay. I think Cave Town is overrated. I can appreciate what he did for the
I mean, I
skinny
agree.
person with glasses playing ukulele in front of a camera because that's got some of my favorite content creators in that subgenre. But I just don't like the way he sings.
Yeah,
The
I'm
way
not a
he
huge fan of
released
the
"This
the
Is Home"
music.
like 5 times.
Yeah,
Your
the
cover,
music's
the cover you did of "This Is Home" is like so much better.
well, thank you. Yeah, I just never been a huge fan of Cave Town stuff, but I'll defend him in this situation. I feel like he didn't really do anything that bad. People need to relax.
Yeah, like can you imagine if someone like Tyler, what's his face, freaking My Chemical, Gerard Way. If Gerard Way said something like that, can you imagine the Hot Topic debate? Like Hot Topic loses half of its stock.
Yeah.
That would freaking shake the world. If he said something like gays are silly, makes it point. I'm trying to be very careful here.
In your example, that'd be so funny if you got canceled for like trying to make an example of a cancelable statement.
Uh, Black people are not that great. Indians have poo poo in their brains.
And there's like there's a certain type of quote unquote cancel that I think is like totally legitimate, and I think that probably we should do that, like where bands like will go and like prey on like young fans. Like I think that's fine. I think we should go ahead and we should kick those people out of venues. My
I'm
problem,
glad we canceled R. Kelly. That was 100% thumbs up.
sure, yeah, exactly. Like what was the other band that just recently like had a big scandal?
Freaking, I don't remember.
I know that article in the LA Times today about Burger Records. This lady basically came out and wrote an article about, I didn't actually read the article, but a lot of those bands at Burger Records like had like sexual harassment, like rape and underage stuff that they were doing, and pretty much the label got shut down because of it. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff is good. I mean, I think that bands that like take advantage of their situation and like are basically pedophiles, like I think that's good that we keep those people out of the community. I really just have a problem when it gets to the point of where it's people getting their bands canceled because of bad jokes they made, or I'll even extend that to people who have their careers ruined because of a political opinion they have.
Yeah, as long as they're not like Nazis or whatever. If
Right.
someone's right leaning, that's I don't have a problem with it as long as they're not obnoxious.
Like if you're someone who is just like a conservative, like you're not even necessarily a Trump supporter, but you're just like someone who believes in low taxes and you kind of like traditional family values, like there's no reason why you shouldn't now be allowed to be a musician. Like I think that's a ridiculous.
That's what Fox News is like saying. They're trying to get rid of the modern conservative.
And I
That's what,
mean,
if you do that, we're letting Fox News win.
it's true because like you don't want to give any more validity to their claims, and Fox News is kind of right nowadays when it comes to that because you really cannot be a regular conservative and work in the entertainment industry. Like, you kidding me? Like Norm Macdonald or Chris Pratt or these people that are, they have like Republican sort of conservative beliefs. And
I didn't know Chris Pratt was a Republican.
yeah, so he's part of like this church that's really homophobic, but that could be extended to pretty much every church. Like, are we going to really cancel every actor who's a Muslim now because Islam is kind of homophobic? Like, are we going to do that to every Christian now because Christianity's a little homophobic? I think it's just ridiculous.
As long as they're not like on Twitter saying to kill all gays or
Yeah,
whatever.
Chris Pratt has never said anything publicly like about gay people in a negative light. At least I've never seen that from him.
Can you imagine if a band or like a person that you were friends with got canceled like that? Like, I have a signed Mains and Monitors album. I'm looking at it right now. Can you imagine if Chase Chandler, the vocalist, said something about, I don't know, Muslims? Then what would I do with the album? Would I block him? I don't know.
I mean, I've always kind of kept a philosophy of that. I know a lot of people can't do this, but I always have kept like the music and the personalities separate. But I do actually have experience with bands I know getting canceled, and a lot of times they've been bands that didn't necessarily deserve to be canceled, and it's really hard for them to come back from it, and it's like really damaged. Like, they've gone into deep depressions about it. They've had like a really tough time just dealing with the emotions of like having so many people on the internet that fucking hate you and they want to make sure that you go away. And
That's probably what happened to Courtney Love. I'm not gonna like try and I'm not trying to bring this back to Courtney Love because
oh sure,
that's
no.
not today's or today's theme. The episode is going to be subtitled "We Talk About Courtney Love for 15 Minutes."
Yeah,
But
that's a
she's
good
probably
title.
completely been blacklisted from the industry.
It's true. I mean, Courtney Love has done some fucked up things, but like she has not really even like she's allowed to go on talk shows. People don't like make these long Twitter threads about how awful Courtney Love is, and I think that's probably how it should be.
Yeah, like, sure, it's bad to not give most of the royalties to the people who are actually in Nirvana. Did you see how hard Dave Grohl was drumming? Just give him the frickin' money.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
mean, there's a lot of situations like that where like people were kind of dicks about money, but like, are we gonna really
there was a
fucking
Yoko Ono thing too.
yeah, Yoko had some
Coming,
shitty
we're
stuff
coming
with
back to
Julian.
the frickin' the sitcom idea we had. Oh my god, it's
That's a
coming full
callback.
circle.
That's a good callback. See, you're learning about this show hosting thing right in front of my eyes.
It's like Joe Rogan, except slightly less political. Slightly.
Hardly. We talked about a lot of politics. I don't know if you could say we're less political than Joe Rogan.
Hmm. Eh, I don't really. I don't watch a lot of podcasts. I just don't have the time or attention span to sit down and listen to someone get up real close to the mic and talk about freaking whatever.
I listen
I
to a
do.
lot of podcasts. Podcasts are like my number one source of entertainment. I always put them on at night and I leave them playing while I sleep.
I'm just doing this to talk to people and make friends because I can't have friends in West Virginia. Nobody likes me.
Fuck them. Fuck West Virginia. You do
I
you.
wonder why. I've got a, a vinyl record collection that's very small and has mostly Sesame Street albums, uh, and an unattractive face. What's not to love?
Yeah,
I have
seriously.
Lego. I have Lego Rock Band.
Get on it, West Virginia.
God.
There is an absolute party waiting for you, and you're just letting it go to waste. Like, get it together.
Hey, baby, you want to listen to Crazy Frog's craziest hits?
All right. Well, I think I better wrap this up. I think this was a very good show. I think you did a great job. I appreciate you having me on.
I think this was very good. We didn't even talk about the music, but I think this is the best, most well flowing episode I've ever done.
Well,
That and maybe
next time
Blitz.
we can
Hey,
talk about the music, and that'll be the sequel.
a good old part two.
Yeah.
We're doing it's a freaking sequel. We're gonna make two albums out of it.
What if we did
It's like
that? Like we posted a double album, made it on vinyl, and the vinyl was just this podcast.
if I could listen to this podcast on if I could hold this on vinyl, then my life would be 5 times better than it is right now. Because I'm not musical at all. I know a lot about music and I can critique music okay ish, but I can't make it. I'm working on a King and Queen of the Losers cover project with a few different people,
I've heard, and
uh,
I'm excited to hear it.
remaking the entirety of Crutch. I'm not even the singer. I'm using a MIDI place to remake Eggplant Emoji with punk guitars. I don't
Hell
know.
yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Uh,
I better head out. I
go
will
to
send you this file, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
no problem. You can
Alrighty.
got to stop recording before
Yeah,
you can.
yeah, I've done this before, so.